so good to see your face.
You too, love.
Hmm. So how's your day going so far?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's been a hell of a week.
Ah, yeah.
Literally, I feel like I've been dragged through the mud and the shit and the like just condensed down to nothing. I worked from home yesterday because I was feeling my body was finally like, dude, you're not listening to any other part of you that's telling you to slow the fuck down. So now I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
that you need to slow the fuck
Yeah. Yeah. Feeling that.
down.
Ah, so well articulated.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so
I'm
glad to
so glad
be
to be
here.
here.
I'm so excited for these calls. Like when
I
I know
know.
you're on, I'm like, oh. But yeah. So
So am I right? And we're in Gene Key 55. Is that the
yeah,
one? And
that's
that's
the
the
one.
victim, right? Or
This
victimization.
the shadow of victimization, the gift and city of freedom. This is
Yes.
the only one of the 64 that only has two expressions, either play the victim or free yourself from playing the victim. That's it.
Hmm.
So this one is the one that just kicks our asses. And it's so important to remember, and I love what you articulated and you knew and you saw was that our physical body is the last part to go through the transmutation. You know, we are going to go through it on a most emotional level on all of our energetic bodies. But when it's really being released out of us in the physical, it's like the last step, but it's like the crunchiest, hardest part. I feel like my spine has been in a pretzel all week. I'm just like, such breakthrough moments with such devastating heartbreak all
Hmm.
coexisting and literally feeling it in my body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a UTI last week, so feeling it in my power center, in
Hmm.
my sacral, in my root chakra. And just like you said, that the universe just said, nope, slow the fuck down. Even when you think that you're going slow, notice this,
Yeah.
notice this. And definitely, definitely with you on that. And then we are also heading into the full moon on
I
Saturday.
know.
And this is the Virgo full moon. So Virgo, the way that Virgo represents herself to me, she is meticulous. She is impeccability. And so she is going through the fucking laundry list of like, all right, let's get back to basis. Let me look at my schedule. What's draining my energy? How can I refine that? Let me look at my budget. Where's my money going? How can I refine that? All the checks and balances, like literally from like it could be this perfectionist paradigm that we continuously are releasing. And
Yeah.
so even just the astrology of today is just like permission to be gentle with ourselves because we are literally becoming brand new vessels and we are releasing the old in everything. We see it in the microcosm, we feel it in the microcosm. It's so pronounced, it's so
Yeah.
inflated, it's so inflamed in the macrocosm. And so yeah, I was thinking we could align in a tune to start us off with the ladies' prayer and just cultivate kind of
Yes.
a group soul, get our hearts on lines,
Hmm.
call our guides to start, and then we can go in and more just share about this gene key this week and how it's landing. So
Yes.
this is the ladies' prayer, and I call this in as this was brought in my life by Richard Rudd through the Gene Keys, founder of the Gene Keys. He includes this as part of the 7 days of grace, and I highly recommend going back to this. I love this prayer. This also is less known from the Lord's Prayer, and it starts off, Our Lady, who lives at the heart of all form, Hallowed be thy name. May thy queendom come. May thy will be done, that heaven may come to earth. Please allow me this day to drink from your sacred silver spring, and forgive me my forgetting, as I learn through your grace to return all non-love with love, and take me by the hand and lead me step by step into the patient valley of your heart. For yours is the earth, my body, and my life, forever and ever. Amen. Aho. And so it is. Namaste. So, victimization, the shadow of victimization, the dilemma is our need for external validation. It's our need to know that we're here. It's our need to know that we exist. And so by needing to know that we exist, we create all of these mirrors outside of us. And we ask the universe to show us over and over and over again who I am and who I be in this moment. And these reflections will show us exactly that, for better or for worse. And so this week we all come to that place of acknowledgement that we all want to be free from our suffering. And we call it different things. We call it our career. We call it the perfect job. We call it our soulmate. We call it the perfect amount of money in the bank. We call it the perfect score on a test. We call it the perfect certification. We call it so many things. But what we're looking for is a way out. It's freedom from our suffering. And the freedom from our suffering literally comes in the moment of choice, the moment that we are feeling crucified on the cross. We are at a crossroads. We are at a choice point, and we know it. We can feel it because it feels hard a lot of the times. And we can choose to follow the age-old story, our age-old story, and we can follow the cycle of what feels comfortable. It feels safe only because it's the road that we keep traveling down, and there's so much comfortability in the things that we know that are familiar to us. And so we keep trotting down that pathway, and then we expect the results to be different, but we keep taking the same road. And then we keep blaming ourselves that our path isn't different, but we keep taking the same path, expecting to lead to someplace else. So every moment we arrive at the cross moments, these cross choices usually come to us in moments of crisis, cross. And when we can allow ourselves to come out of the wheel of samskara, just by creating a moment of pause, we literally short circuit our neurology to say, wait a minute, I'm going to make a different choice. I'm going to take a different path. We free ourselves. In that moment, we free ourselves from what was familiar, from what was safe. And we open up an entirely new universe, one that would not be there had we not taken that step towards liberation. And when we create new patterns, and every single time we feel that fear, we feel that resistance, we feel that contraction, and we actually honor that part, we actually look at that part and we understand that there must be some aspect of me that doesn't know how to evolve without a crisis. There is some aspect of me that turns on myself and that has become so used to turning on myself. And so when that aspect turns on, can I not turn on myself? Can I not abandon that part of myself that wants to be seen, that didn't know there was another road? Nobody told us there was another road. How are we supposed to find out that there was another road? We were sworn to forgetting. We came here, we all made the soul contract that we would forget. So why were we expecting to always remember and always expecting to know? So as soon as we invite in the curiosity, the unknown, the mystery, without the fear to it, and we shift the fear to the curiosity, from the curiosity, we liberate ourselves. It's like that inner child starts jumping around and flying around, and all of a sudden she can fly. Oh my God, I've been trying to drive a car and my foot couldn't even touch the pedals, and all this time I had wings and I could fly, and I didn't even know that it was always here. And that's the thing about the gift. It's always in the shadow. And, there's a quote in science that is, uh, it's a conspiracy theory to some people, and it makes absolute truth to me. And it's the idea that light isn't, all of these light years away. Light is always here. The light is always here. So we keep projecting ourselves all into these experiences to experience the light. But the light is always here. In this process of learning, we realize is just a process of unlearning and stripping away all that was getting in the way of us remembering that the opposite of gravity is levity. And when we are in those crisis points, we can choose levity. And levity can free us from making the same patterned choice that our grandmothers made and their grandmothers made and our fathers made and their grandfathers made. We get to stop turning in on ourselves. We get to stop abandoning ourselves. When we come around situations, we come around things that don't feel good, and we trust in ourselves, not needing validation. I don't need this experience to feel bad for you. If this experience doesn't feel good for me, that's enough for my body to tell me to choose sovereignty, to choose to get curious, to choose to get playful about that. What is my body detecting right now that I can free myself from with just a little bit of exploration, a little bit of curiosity? And so this gift of freedom, it comes when we no longer need external validation. And that is terrifying to the outside world. My life looks terrifying to a lot of people, and I sort of quietly celebrate that. I celebrate how off the grid I am, while also entertaining that my human self goes through serious crisis points because of how much trust I put in the mystery. And there is, and there are times that I have to have boundaries because my imagination is what turned on during my trauma. My grace came in through my suffering. They are one and the same. And my imagination can turn to fear, and it can turn to suffering, it can turn to lack. But that usually turns on, I've realized, when I'm talking to my mom. I'm talking to certain people that really feel empowered by keeping me small, by feel really empowered by not letting me be in my full expression in some capacity. And I notice it. I'm so highly aware of it that I've become almost allergic to those dynamics because I simply can't allow myself to go back into people pleasing environments that actually suffocate the life right out of me. Because part of my imprint on this universe is that collective mission, that personal healing to also give back in the same way that you have that. And we don't get to give back and be of service when we have these things that are siphoning off our energy. And we get to be discerning. We get to free ourselves from needing anybody else to have to honor our story the way that we honor it. And this gift of freedom, I know the way that I've been feeling in this in my body so somatically, literally feels like my spine is coming like untangling. Um, it's reminding me that that nobody has to commiserate with me. Nobody has to understand my story. I don't have to have a story. And I can be completely brand new at this all the time. And I don't have to judge myself for being completely brand new at this. And every single time I allow myself the freedom of my sovereign human experience, and I allow others to have the freedom of their experience without me shaming them, without me blaming them, without me guilting them, without me judging them. When I experience that, that is a liberation that transcends all. I am no longer a victim of anything. And
Yes.
every single time I give that enlightening part of me, that turn on, that peace, that joy of cultivating that sovereignty, it gets rippled out in the collective so fast that Jen, I can't even understand what's happening anymore.
Yeah.
It excites me so much while simultaneously freaking me the fuck out sometimes too, because it all just happens one little breadcrumb at a time that I have to be patient with, and I have to trust, and I have to know that my whole journey is all about my self trust and my believe in myself to be the authority. And yesterday, yesterday, Tuesday, I had to close the door on my mom, and I had to set a boundary with my mom. That was a really hard line to draw in the sand, and I sent it, and I sat in a wallowing place, and then I was in an empowered place, and then I sat in that empowered place, and I let myself feel all of it. And then just a few hours later, freaking some soul family from Colombia comes in, and we sit and we have this unbelievable experience together. And they share with me that they want to serve medicine on our land. And not only that, they want to cultivate a school with us. They want to teach us. They want us to learn from them, from their grandfather's ancient medicine that they brew themselves. And they want to teach us how to make it so that we can serve our community, because they've heard of us and they've had downloads about us and they were led to us. And I have truth bumps over my body because this has been 8 years for me of daily devotion to showing up, learning how to be a clear channel and not knowing how that was going to come in. And to have these people come here, I just closed the door on my mother, and in walks Cosmic Mother to share with me the gift of ayahuasca and to say, I choose you all to
Mm,
share this medicine, to teach you
mm.
how to cook this medicine, to teach you how to pray with this medicine, to teach you how to create a forest farm with all the other medicines that go with this medicine, to teach others the Icaros, to work with like, and I had no idea that I energetically and physically had to close the door on my mom in order for that one to open. But I feel that in ways that I can't even understand, in ways that my human body can't even intellectually wrap its mind around. But that's what freedom is. It's when you put a wall up somewhere that allows gushing energy to flow through from another source without any dilution, any distraction away from the collective mission, turns into victimization, turns into it's all about me, turns into my suffering that takes me away again and again and again from the collective healing. And so I just celebrate this gift of freedom this week as I feel it so alive in my body, while simultaneously honoring the bittersweet feeling of releasing my victim story and also releasing the source of a lot of the patterns of conditionings around that limited scarcity thinking that kept being reinforced through a channel that I'm too high sensitive to receive right now. Maybe she does some work on herself through her narcissism and she learns how to be able to hold more feelings for others. But if not, I won't be concerned about it anymore because I've done what my human self needs to do, which was cut that tie off for now and assert that boundary. So I'd love to hear what's alive for you hearing this really harsh like duality of what
Yeah.
it is to feel the victimhood and also experience the freedom.
Well, first, I want to honor the fuck out of you for closing that door or holding that boundary in the way that you did. Like, I don't know all the story, but I know some of it. And not just know, but that was also something that I walked through with my mom moving back to Texas after living with me for 12 years. And um, that day that I came to her and said, and regardless of the packaging it was around, but essentially we can't live together anymore, was the most terrifying day and also something that truly transformed our relationship and opened up so much space for the life that I'm living now. So I fucking feel you, sister, and I honor the strength and the grace and the courage and the bravery and the genuine falling into the mystery that it takes to do that. And it makes my heart so fucking happy to hear what's come of it. Like, that is so fucking exciting, so fucking beautiful. And I am so looking forward to seeing how and what you all build together.
Thank
That's
you.
freaking phenomenal.
Oh, thank you.
There's so much to touch on here. The thing that first came up is when you were talking about the crucifixion. And on the Sunday service, I had shared, so my preparation for Sunday service is usually like 2 to 2.5 hours every morning, of me just preparing myself and my vessel and all of that for those calls. And it had been a really, really hard week at work, or week and a half, 2 weeks. And I was just exhausted. I had been depleted, and it's been like that for a while. And I hadn't been doing my normal practice of like yoga, meditation. My practice was still there. It just looked very different. And so that day was the first I had done yoga and meditation in quite some time. And my preparation for Sunday service is always super deep, just snot and tears and all of it. But as I was laying in meditation after doing some yoga, I was sitting in meditation, and I was, okay, I'm sitting and, you know, my head over heart, heart over pelvis, have my straight line. And I kept hearing, turn your mat, lay down with your head to the north. And I was like, but I'm sitting up and I feel, and I just kept hearing it over. I was like, okay. So I laid down and I was playing this Native American, I don't even know what to call it. It's like prayer, drums, flute, spoken word. It's just always takes me deep. I listened to it on YouTube. And as I laid down, I felt on my, what is it? On my left side was the father, which is the east. On my right side was the mother, which is the west. At my head was the elder, which is the north. And at my feet was the child, which is the south. And it aligned with how I have that in my altar also, how I have my altar set up. And I was just like blown away at feeling this energy of them just completely circulating me covering me, holding me, doing whatever it was they were doing to me. And just the energy, feeling it like break up inside of me, the calcified energy, and just expanding and opening and releasing and moving. And like, again, knowing that there's something happening. I just don't fucking know what. And then the next thing I know, I envision myself on a cross. And it's like I feel the nails going, piercing into my freaking hands. But at that moment, it was the, I don't have to know what this is for. I know it's meant to be for me. And I know it means more to the people witnessing this than it does to me. And I felt the mother and the father like holding my arms, holding my hands as the nails are just in the middle of my palms. And then I feel the thorny crown on my head just digging into my skull, and blood dripping down my head, and the elder just standing there holding their hands over my head, holding my neck. And then down at the feet is the child, along with all of the people that were witnessing this. And knowing that they don't know what's happening, but they think they do. There's those people that are screaming out in terror, stop, stop, stop. Then there are the people that are yelling, yes, yes, crucify him, crucify him. Then there are the people that can't even look, and the people that can't look away, and the people that can't speak, and the people, and they are all so determined and defined that they know what is happening, that it is right or that it is wrong or that it is whatever. Yet they are children, and they don't yet know that they don't know. Like in the thinking that they know, they don't know. And in that moment, that's the, like, this is the purpose, to allow them the opportunity to remember that they don't know, that they don't remember. And it's all worth it. The pain, the devastation, the blood, the death, the everything. It's not for me to know what this serves. It's not meant for me to know what purpose this holds. It's not meant for me to know why I'm here on the Gene Keys call, or why I take 2 hours to prepare for Sunday service, or why I stay up late to edit the videos to post them on YouTube, or why I go through and continuously refine the Sacred Wild, the website, the community, the everything, why I'm being called to, on the spring equinox when we open the Sacred Wild path to begin charging. It's not for me to know why or what the purpose is. It's just for me to know. And then on Monday, because after that, after the service, and all of that, went on a hike. It was the first time I gone on a hike for a while, just soaked up the sun, laid out in my backyard, sunbathing naked, just feeling the sun on my skin, on my body. And then in the evening, I started feeling a little off, like the scratchy throat and the stuffy little congestion, And then by Monday, I woke up and I just wasn't feeling good at all. And work has been really, really, really hard and a lot. My 40-hour work week goes to 60 to 65. And it's just a lot. I don't have time or energy for anything, to clean my house, to be with my kids, to take care of the things in the Sacred Wild. And I had to come into the office, even though the office was closed, because we were doing this transition. And I was talking to John for a while. On the way home, it was it. I couldn't take anymore. My nerves were just frayed. I didn't fucking feel good. Every time a text message came in on the phone, I was just screaming at the phone and then answering the way that I answer. Phone would ring and I'd yell at the fucking phone, just tell him to fuck off and take care of your own stupid goddamn shit like an adult does, before I pick up the phone and like, hey, what can I do for you? Yeah, of course I can help you send an email. How are you not fucking, in my head? I'm like, how the fuck do you not know how to send a fucking email going right now? Like, seriously, you can't attach something to a fucking email. And in my head, I'm like, but what I say is, of course, anytime, call me if there's anything else I can help you with, and just crying and bawling. By the time I get home, I'm just done. I'm just done. And I was like, I can't do any work today. Like, I can't do any more. I have to fucking let it go. And I got on my yoga mat and I did yoga, and I was laying there and I was on the phone with Paul, and I'm just crying and crying. And it's like, I'm at that empty point. Like, I'm drained, and it's so crazy because I'm empty, but there's so much to let go, so much to release. And like, I feel like I just can't fucking do it anymore. Like, it's just too much for me. And at the same time, like, I know this is part of it. And I take a look, I take a step back, and I'm like, I'm fucking doing it though. Like, I'm fucking doing it. And I'm doing it without the condition of having to have a partner. I'm doing it without the condition of having to have anybody hold my hand or tell me what to do. Like, this is literally just me fucking around. Oh, what's this? Or I want to do this. Let's figure this shit out. I don't know. Here you go, Google and YouTube. And like, I'm so goddamn proud of myself. Like, I'm fucking here doing it. Like, I'm doing the fucking thing. I don't know what the fucking thing is, but I'm doing it. I'm doing what feels alive and aligned to my soul. And I'm doing it while fucking releasing ancient stories and ancient definitions. I'm walking out into this realm of relating with others in this terrifying, my deepest fear. At the festival, when we went, I came face to face while I was in medicine with my deepest fear, which is not knowing. And people ask me, well, not knowing what? I'm like, anything, anything, everything. Fucking not knowing who I am, not knowing where I'm supposed to go, not knowing where I am, not knowing what I'm supposed to do, not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow or in 5 minutes or in a month, not knowing if I make this decision, is this going to make everything crumble and fall, not knowing if I'm doing it wrong or right or in between or sideways, or if there is even a wrong or a right, not knowing if what I'm going to do now is going to bring pain and suffering in my life, not knowing if what I'm doing is going to bring abundance and joy into my life. Not knowing anything is terrifying, more terrifying than the thought of my children dying. Terrifying. And I was able to process that in medicine and get to this beautiful space, right? And I stayed in that medicine for like a week after. And I was like, oh, this is great. Like, that doesn't even terrify me anymore. That doesn't even scare me anymore. Little did I know I was just living on the tail end of the medicine because I have such a deep connection with it. It lasted that long. And then I came back to the 3D world with shot nerve endings, with feeling like my nervous system is being attacked over and over and over, with the trying and the trying and the trying to get everything done, staying up till 1:30 in the morning working and getting up at 5 so I can get back to work, with staying up so I can do my dishes or do my laundry or fucking, yeah, I'm exhausted and I want to sleep, but yeah, I'll play that game with you, babe. Or, let's get you to basketball practice. Let's get you to boxing. Let's get you to the store so you can buy the makeup that you need. Let's get you. And like, working from this space of, if I don't do this, then I don't know what will happen. And so many times people were, what if you didn't answer the call? What if you didn't answer the email? It's like, I don't know. Like, that's the whole fucking point. Is like, I'm operating from this space in both my business, also in relations, and also in freaking everything, where I don't know how else to do it and feel safe and supported and provided for. So I fall back into those old ways. And thank God for my coach, because like, she's able to pull out, hey babe, you remember when we had our last session and this is what you're trying to do, and now you're trying to do it, but it looks a little different. It's the same thing, and being able to shine that light on it, right? And as I'm going through this and just crying, and finally was like, I can't go into work. I'm going to work from home. And I worked from home yesterday and was still working, and then took a nap, and then worked and went gentle and slow and allowed John to take care of what, needed to be taken care of here at the office. But then also talking about freedom where the people, there's people that, I share where I'm at. And the go-to is, yeah, but you'll get through it. Yeah, you know what you're doing. You got this. And with all the love in my heart, I fucking get it. But that's an assault on my fucking nervous system when you say that to me and I'm in my shit. I am so far from the even remote idea of things being any different than the shit that I'm in right now that it fucking hurts and it digs me in a deeper hole because that's another thing I have to do because everybody thinks I can.
I can't tell you how long it has taken me to unpack my own toxic positivity
Yeah.
and really see it where it hides, because that one took me a really long time, because I just kept telling myself that it's not so bad. It's not so bad. And whatever it was really fucking bad. And that did not fit the narrative. So every time that I kept that people pleasing energy and any of that codependency and any external validation where I knew that I was selling my soul just a little bit, and like now I just like I can't. Like I can't. It hurts me so much because I'm so highly aware of it. So that toxic positivity is something that I don't think enough people talk about and really, really detect it for where it is and for how it shows up. Because, yeah, of course, we're on the path and we're doing good things and we want to be positive and whatever. But, like, any time that we try to bypass someone's experience when they are in it is absolutely adding more trauma to the system. And
Yeah.
we do it to ourselves constantly.
And what a gift it was, though, to be able to name it from a source of love. Like, I love that you are in such a beautiful space right now and that you are in deep love with life. I fucking love that for you, and I want you to savor the fuck out of it. Right now, I am deep in the shit, and though I'm say I don't want to fucking be here, I have no desire to be anywhere else right now because this is where I'm meant to fucking be. I know it'll be better. I know this is temporary. I know I'll work through. I know I know that. I don't need to be told that. I know that. And right now I need to be in it. And if you're not able to be in the shit with me right now, I fucking honor the fuck out of you and fucking love you. But right now, this is where I need to be. I need to be in the fucking shit.
Yes.
And it was because even like in there is like, how do I even formulate these words to say, like, this is hurting more than it's helping? This is, adding to the shit more than it is supporting and, whatever. Because that's the piece with the shit is that I get in there because I keep saying it should be better. It will be better. It takes me away from what is right now. And I know I've gone through this many, many times, and I know what's on the other side of it. And the only way to get to the other side is to get through, not around or over or under or, push it to the side or whatever, but it's to be in it, like bloodied and muddied and covered in the filth. And that was so freeing for me to be able to speak that and to learn that I do know the words and I can come with it from a place of love, of saying, allow me to have my experience, offer me the privilege of my process. I am fully aware that I am choosing to be here right now, fully aware. And I'm fully aware that I am saying all the stories, and I am fully fucking aware that I am in the victim right now. And this is where I need to be. I need to be able to see the victim, to feel the stories, to witness and acknowledge and honor all that is here, because that's why they're here, because they haven't been. They've been pushed away, they've been ignored, denied, avoided, all of it. Now it is time. I see you. I fucking love you. I honor you. There is space for you here. You are not wrong or bad. You are not something meant to be thrown away or pushed to the side. You deserve the grace of my awareness. And walking out of that, walking in this, waking up this morning, and the song from, I can't remember the last name, but it's one of the girls from Rising, one of the women from Rising Appalachia, Leah something.
Mhm.
And she has a solo song that says, There she is again.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah, and that was the first song that played this morning, and it was part is the inspiration for my post, and it's like, there she is again,
Yeah.
the victim who thinks the whole world's against her.
Mm.
There she is again, the hero who thinks that she has to save the world. I feel you. There she is again, the warrior that is bruised and bloody, having to fight everything that is put in front of her. I witness you. I honor you. Thank you for your strength. Thank you for what you do. There she is again, the little child, carefree and joyous, or the little child that's scared and hiding. I see
Yeah.
you. I love you.
Yeah.
And recognizing that over these last few months, there's been so much of my vocabulary that just doesn't fit anymore.
Mm.
Um, like I was talking to Paul this morning, and I was like, it was a piece of what if we recognize that we're never doing it wrong
Mm.
and that we can't do it any better
Mm.
while simultaneously never being able to do it any worse? What if we were to walk through this and just realize that there is no fucking wrong way of doing things, like genuinely no wrong way.
Now, what if we
That
really didn't have to have any story? What if there was no story about any way
exactly.
of doing it? What if
And
we could
like,
release that?
yeah, well, and then walking into the relations, right? Boyfriend, partner, lover, friend, those don't fit anymore. Paul and I are going to Texas this weekend, and I'm super interested when people are like, oh, I'm like, oh, this is Paul. Oh, awesome. Who is,
Yeah, yeah,
what is nice? Paul.
yeah,
That's it,
yeah.
or talking about Anthony. Oh, and
Hmm.
who's Anthony? He's Anthony,
Yeah.
or
I love how through the awakened state we become so highly aware of the charge of words that, like you said, you transcend vocabulary. Like it doesn't feel good in my body to use certain words anymore. And even like labels and identities. Like I am not gonna be in that little box of that archetype. And like I just, oh my gosh, I celebrate so much of everything that you're sharing. It's, oh, what a beautiful articulation. And yeah, what a beautiful place to be at to say, these are the people in my life. What do you mean? Like,
uh, I mean, they just are what they are. It doesn't,
yeah,
right now, he's Paul. Right now, I'm Jen.
yeah,
Like, what are you to each other? I don't know, everything.
everything.
Yeah. And it's also interesting over the last month or so, also no, not in resistance either. When they're like, oh, is this your girlfriend? Sure. Oh, is this your friend? Yeah. You know,
Absolutely.
and I'm
All
just
that
like,
and yes, and yeah, every
yeah,
single one of these stories.
because what I've recognized is that that desire for labels has
Mm.
nothing to do with honoring the connection, has nothing to do with anything other than look at me, look what I have.
Mhm.
And the truth is that unless they were in our shoes, there's no way that we could ever describe what it is our experience is. If I were to
Mhm.
say partner, people will have their own vision of what partner is, and that's not the same as what we are, you know? And so instead, it's been fun also to just allow people to make their assumptions and be like, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
and then say, I thought you said you were just friends. It's like, no, you said we were friends. So it's like, and we are. It was like,
Mhm.
and that's one of the aspects of us. One of
Yeah.
the aspects, not all
Yeah.
of it though.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love everything that you said about really, really, really allowing the victim to be the victim, to be in the story, so that you can even see what the story is,
Yeah.
so that you can even begin to unpack that story and release that story. Before we can release the story, we have to name the story. I was so resistant when I first started in the spiritual path to everything that was saying to kill off the ego. I'm like, what? That sounds a little harsh,
Yeah.
and now whenever I hear it, I totally cringe at that idea that I have to kill off a part of me instead of actually love all of me, and I really celebrate this conversation and what you've brought in to be in that reminder of we cannot release the victim's story until we've held the victim, until we've heard the victim's story, until we've heard all aspects of the victim's story and all the ways that she shows up in us. We are the cosmos expressed all the way through us. We are Venus. We are Mars. We are the planet of war and destruction. And we are also rebirth. And we have a lot of stories flowing through us around all of it. And shifting our perception around all of it literally changes the universal story as it changes our orbit through space. It's so invaluable to hear the story so that we can love ourselves once we hear that. Like what a gift that wasn't available when the story was happening because it was fight or flight, it was survival. It was everything that we had to do to make it, to survive every aspect of everything that came to be of that story. There's so much untangling. Like I said, this is the gene key of the spine. This is taking, we call it the core wound. Wound is wound. Our core wound is wound around our spine, literally. And it's wound in stories. And every time we release those stories, there's a little bit more fluid, that emotion that pours through us. It gets those squeaky wheels working again. So we can be fluid, we can be in harmony again. But to name the story and to be with the versions of you, all the versions of you that get to hear that story and to get to go in and recreate that story that was such a key aspect of my shadow work and the actual practical application of how I did shadow work is when a story was coming in and it felt like a wound, it felt like a shadow, it felt like a trigger. I felt myself in misery around this story. I created a ceremony. I lit a candle. I told myself, look me in the mirror. We are safe. We got this. We got this. We are here now. Going to go back into that story and we're going to rewrite the shit out of that story. We're going to do it team effort, collaborative. Sometimes we do it with our friends. Sometimes we do it with our lovers. Sometimes we do it in community. Sometimes we just do it with ourselves or with ourselves in a mirror. But I started going through and just allowing myself to revisit those stories and allow the awakened adult mother version of me to witness where I still play out those stories and where I got benefit from those stories and really honoring how I benefited from those stories. And for me in my childhood dynamic and a lot of things that I repeated was um, if I held so much weight, I became a victim of the suffering for my mom. Well, I took that away. I had the feeling that I took that away from my dad. And because I did that, I got to have this really light conversation to go out for ice cream. You know,
Yeah.
if I could do this, then that
And
could
this will
happen.
happen. Yeah.
So I can see when I'm playing that where I'm creating, there's a reward in there for me if I can see, even
Yep.
if it's so dysfunctional. And it's so heartbreaking to witness all the ways that I dysfunctionally asked for help, all the ways that I dysfunctionally asked for attention, for people to hear me, for people want to see my story. And that is the hardest part for me um, this last 8, 9 years of being deeply devoted to showing up for myself. 8, 9 years later, now I'm finally like a 9-year-old,
Yeah,
but really it's still an
exactly.
infant. But yeah, I'm an
Yes.
8-year-old, I'm a 9-year-old, and I have to honor that's how young I feel, and sometimes
That
younger than that.
I
And
was
that's,
just speaking about that with Paul the other day. I was like, I'm literally a 2-year-old.
yeah,
I've only lived this life recognizing, like, through the lens of love and worthiness for
yeah.
2 years. That's it. I
And
mean,
spanking new.
yeah. So, everybody, like, you say the love for life and the awe and is so attractive and pulls people in and da, da, da. I'm like, well, yeah, because why isn't everybody this in awe of life? Like, holy shit. Like, this is what we get to live in. Like, and not even just the awe and the wonder of the beauty of, like, the pretty and the love and the whatever, but also the feeling of the devastation, like, to be able to feel, to be. There's this song that I heard, and he had this line: to truly trust yourself is to allow yourself to be afraid.
Mm.
I was like, yes, that.
And also what you said, and allow yourself to be seen and loved even when you choose to be the victim. On those days I'm in my suffering and I can't get out of my suffering, my partner's trying to offer me a way out of my suffering, and I'm like, yo, nope, nope. I'm
Mm,
gonna be here and I'm not changing out of my sweats, and I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna pout and I'm gonna be this. And he knows he's dealing with a child in that moment.
yeah,
And there has been in the evolution of us me witnessing how I've acted as a child to say, can I get away with that? What would happen? Is there enough unconditional love that I could actually just pout all day and say, you know what? I'm gonna wear my trash bag today, and today I forget what it's called. Regina says to it, but I like today is the day that
oh,
I am
swamping, yeah,
smoking today, and I'm just in it, and I'm not even trying to change, and I'm not putting on makeup, and I don't give a shit.
yep,
And when you can be in that level of
yeah,
not giving a fuck and still know that you're safe with another human being is,
yeah.
yeah, I'm brand new at that, baby, brand new. And it's changed my life because also I know this is a holographic universe, and I know that I cultivated that trust for myself within me to have that sacred marriage in order to cultivate that in the physical, because the physical was the last aspect. That's why
Mhm.
sickness, toxins, the last aspect of relief. Same thing on the physical. Once we manifested that sacred union, boom, he walks in the door. And then he walks over here, and then he comes over here, and then you realize, holy shit, there's a lot of them.
Yep. And that's the thing, like, you allowed yourself to be seen and trusted and loved and accepted and embraced by another human because you are that for yourself. You're not leaving yourself. You're not going to deny yourself. You're not going to abuse yourself, beat yourself, just ravage yourself, or walk away from yourself when you're in that. You're going to show up for yourself and say, fuck no, goddess. You are a fucking powerhouse right here, just as much. as you are when you're over there standing saying, here I am, watch me roar.
Mhm.
And that piece too, like there's something that Paul said this morning. He's like, yeah, but I like to learn from it so it can be a tool so I can do better next time.
Mhm.
And I was like, even that doesn't feel good to me anymore,
That still keeps you in the wheel.
because that's saying that you did something not as good this time, or that, or he said something about being more productive. I was like, no, who's to say that we aren't? I was like, that's our story that says we're not being productive when we're in the shit. I was like,
Yeah.
and it's really fucking hard for me to sit here and say, when I was emotionally abusing my children, that too was being productive.
Mhm.
That too was creation. That too was part of this divine fucking plan that I can't fucking see.
Mhm.
And it's scary as fuck
Yeah.
to take a look at that and see that as divine and sacred and holy and perfect. But the truth
And
is,
no judgment. And like what you said, I mean, this gene, this life is all about giving ourselves the freedom of our own experience. So no judgment at all. But what I've realized on the spirituality path as well as on the sobriety path, not everybody stays on it.
yeah,
And people fall and people have their own experiences and no judgment, but allowing other people to have the freedom of their experience also feels very lonely sometimes when you feel
mhm,
like you're on a road of your own and you don't know
oh
where
yeah,
these people are, you don't know when they're coming. You know that you've been following the breadcrumbs and you've been getting the downloads and you've been acting on them, but you are in those liminal stages of, I
yeah,
don't know what this is for because I'm getting zero external validation,
yeah,
just in that place of absolute trust.
yeah,
To actually surrender with the faith, to be in that charged, juicy place of
mm,
faith, with Jesus taking the wheel, is so fucking freeing and simultaneously terrifying.
terrifying, the most terrifying thing in the entire fucking world.
The most terrifying thing in the entire
Yeah,
fucking world.
seriously.
Yeah.
And then to, like, speaking of being like the only person or feeling alone or feeling like people are gonna think you're a psychotic mess or whatever, but like even going back to, people falling off the path or, falling out of sobriety or whatever that case may be, but who's to say that that isn't their spiritual path,
Exactly.
right? And then
Exactly.
to see, like, or to step back and say, with how devastating and how heartbreaking and how fucking, like, just horrifying it is to see a genocide happening, but also stepping back and saying, this is a natural disaster, just like a tidal wave or an earthquake or a tornado, and there's purpose behind all of that. What it
Mhm.
is, we can only pretend to name, pretend to know. We can make up all sorts of stories, but can we see that just as necessary as the birth of a child,
Mhm.
or just as holy, or just as sacred?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, it all
that
comes to me
is,
for it. Can we look at it as divine justice? It just is. It just is
yeah,
in ways that I don't know. And I have found my own liberated experience by being the observer, by zooming
yeah,
way the fuck out.
yes,
And from that place that you speak of, that omniscient view, to say, this is lifetimes that's happening in front of us. I couldn't possibly condense this into a micro moment and understand it. I
yeah,
couldn't possibly understand all the ways that the universe is expressing through this experience. I'm way too limited by literal gravity and this flesh suit that only has so much brain power. Like, I can't possibly create a story that's going to be accurate on why this is happening. So if I
right,
can actually just release that story and also release all of the stories to know, well, if I feel that way about that story, couldn't I feel that way about every story? And
mm,
couldn't everybody also feel that way about every single
yeah,
story? And it's like in the gene, I mean, well, yeah, in the gene keys, I feel like every gene can correlate to a tarot card. And this one, this particular one reminds me of the Fool,
Mm,
because it's like you're either on the ledge there, carefree in the world with nothing, like I've got nothing, I got no shit,
yeah.
I'm zero. I'm in the void, literally. I'm just about to fall off this cliff here. I don't know where I'm going,
Yeah.
or change in perspective, release the story, release the victim. And it's like, I have nothing. I literally have nothing weighing me down. I'm
Yeah.
floating off into the clouds. I've got nothing but sunshine around me and faith and a heart opening. Like,
And
what?
even that little animal that's on the ground, you can
Yeah,
either
yeah.
look at that animal and say, oh, they're trying to stop you and keep you from getting in danger, from dying, from walking off the cliff, or you can view it as excitement, celebration. Let me come with you. It can go either way.
Totally. I see that too. Let me come with you. And I see a flower in her hand, in unisex, in their
In their
hand, and the
hand.
dog. And like, let's bring the animal kingdom with us. Let's bring the
Let's
plant
bring the
kingdom
plant
with
kingdom with
us.
us. Yeah.
Let's bring all of these. Let's be supercharged by the energy of the
The
sun
sun.
as all of these things come to life with us. Like,
Yes.
ultimate connection, ultimate freedom, ultimate
Mhm.
interdependence to be so one with all of it. Of course, you're one with Paul. He is all of it for you. He's soulmate in physical form as someone that you can have a beautiful human experience with. Why would you want to put that into a box? How
Right.
expansive is that language and that concept?
Yeah.
And, the more and more that I hear about you, the more excited I am for whatever directions you continue to weave in, but just your relational coaching and your relational dynamics is so progressive and beautiful
Mhm.
in the way that you have learned from your relationships and you use it as a way to create something so brand new that works exactly for you. I
Yeah.
think it's so inspiring. I can't wait to read your book. I can't wait to come to your book signing. I can't wait for all the things that come from this evolution in relating.
And that's the piece right there. Like that is perfect for you. And that is that space of freedom. And that's the space of fuck the labels,
Yeah.
of fuck the history, of fuck the traditions, of
Yeah.
fuck the all of it, where it's like, and when it comes to coaching or anything, it's never going to be here, this is what's worked for me, I'm going to give this to you and this is what you should do.
Yeah.
It's going to be, here are some practices that I have that allowed me to tap into what works for me. Maybe they can help you tap into hearing or understanding or exploring what works for you.
Yeah.
There are infinite, whether we label it monogamy, whether we label it polyamory, there are infinite versions of each of those.
Yeah.
Infinite. If I were to go into a relationship and say I prefer to monogamously relate, that doesn't say shit. That does
Yeah.
not say shit. What does that mean? Does that mean that you're okay with me looking at other women and thinking that they're beautiful? Are you okay with me flirting with another man? Are you okay with me snuggling up with my buddy? Are you okay with me going into a cuddle puddle at a festival? Are you okay with, and all of a sudden we're still here looking for that external validation, looking for
Mhm.
somebody to have somebody else to have authority over us when we take that next step, right? I am my own self authority. I get to decide what is okay for me. And this is simply me saying the words. I am still practicing and learning how this works, right?
Yeah.
But not just me, but my source of love, but source, not my fear, not my old stories, not any of that, but my soul, the thing I am sourced from is that authority. And then going even deeper into the next realm, That is, there is no authority to be had.
Mhm.
There is no authority to be had. Me doing
And
this thing. Go ahead.
even that word authority is author. You are the author. You are the author of your own story.
Right. And then what if there is no author
Yeah.
and
What
there
if there is
is no
no
story?
story?
What if the story is created as I be? And that is what happens instead of trying to anticipate the ending or to try to make sense of what happens next based on what happened before, but
Mhm.
simply be. And that's terrifying. Like all of this is terrifying. I say this and I know that I may sound poetic and beautiful and all the things, but it's freaking terrifying. Literally, I've been in this death portal for the last like 3, 4 days or even longer. It feels like it's all been a death portal and I'm just coming out of it stage by stage by stage. But it is scary
It
because,
is scary, and especially for people that did not have the opportunity to feel like their dreams could come true. For a
no,
lot of people that did not feel like it would happen to them,
hmm,
whatever that looked like, whatever that was, it takes a lot
yeah,
to come out of that frame of thinking and think, this could actually happen to me. My dreams could actually come true. I could actually live my life with so much trust in myself and my ability to make the right choices in everything that I do. Like that, that's that double-edged sword that before it's empowering, it's heartbreaking to see
it
the
really
versions
is.
of you that didn't have the opportunity to even hold on to dreams like that. Because fear, survival, those things got in the way of it. It's such
Yeah,
expansive thinking to be able to dream as an adult. And I just want to celebrate the fuck out of that in
yeah,
that tender moment of acknowledging how long it took you to be able to give yourself the freedom to rewrite a completely new story and to be whatever character and for it to look any which way. And until we can embrace that, we're still writing, I'm still writing the story too.
yeah. And I reflect that right back to you. Like you are saying you're closing the door on so many stories, on so many different things that have been holding you back without you realizing it's been holding you back or holding you down or, whatever word you want to use. And like in that space that you were saying, where the person who doesn't think that their dreams can come true, I'm sure that was you at some point because I know that was me. I was just talking to this the other day, which is this is why it's so important now. I've come to this balance of understanding the significance of the story of my past because I was that person. I would hear people like me and you speaking and sharing these things and talking about and exploring the mystery and all of that and all of these phenomenal things that are happening. Or I'd listen to the speakers, Gabrielle Bernstein, or I mean, I hit all of them. And I remember thinking, well, yeah, of course, that you didn't get raped. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you didn't have to deal with having a shotgun in your face at 5 years old. I'm sure
Mhm.
that works for you, but you have money. You came from, a loving family. Or I'm sure that it works for you, but it wouldn't work for me because like I lived in that for so, so long. And for a long time too, after that point of recognizing, oh, things can happen, it's like I pushed that side of the story away because I didn't want to be attached to that anymore. I didn't know how to not be attached to it with it still being, something shared. But as I've come through, I recognize the importance of like sharing all of it, which is why I share my shit so much. And that's super fucking uncomfortable because it can happen for anybody. It can, dreams can come true for every single being on this planet. It has nothing to do with what your experience was or what kind of family you came from, what kind of financial background you came from, what kind of trauma you had, what kind of experiences you had. And this is the part where I get to be grateful for the number and various varieties of trauma that I experienced because there are very few people that I can't sit there, that will come and tell me, well, yeah, but I had this happen, that I can't respond with me too. Whether it's sexual abuse, whether it's abandonment, whether it's violence, whether it's whatever. And that's not to say, and then on the other token of it, it's also not because of all of those.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't, I am not in the space that I am in because those things happen, and I'm not in the space that I am in despite those things happening. I
Mm-hmm.
have been forged from my life experience. I am not my life experience, but I have been forged from it. And it was my choice to alchemize all of that, just as it was yours, into wisdom. And then again, it was our choice to be committed and devoted enough to create platforms and to create our message into something that's deliverable, shareable, and receivable to the world. That does not, that is not a small feat. That is not something that happens overnight. That is something that happens with continued devotion and commitment to self and to whatever it is your dream is.
Mm-hmm.
Once you choose to go all in, and it requires nothing less and nothing more than being all fucking in to yourself, then you'll go through the dark nights of the soul. You'll go through the unraveling and the unweaving. You'll go through the pain and the despair and the fucking just heart aching, soul wrenching feeling it is to come face to face with your victim, with your perpetrator, with your hero, with all of these masks that you've worn and all of these stories that you've been living by, whether they were given to you or you created them or you've kept them. It becomes worth it because of that solidity and that all in of choosing and the
Yeah.
devotion and commitment that takes. Like, I'm speaking to myself, you are speaking to yourself. I fucking honor the hell out of you, and I fucking honor the hell out of me, and I fucking honor the hell out of every single person on this planet, because whether they are aware of it or not, they're doing it too. Every goddamn person on this planet, they're at some point of their journey in the unraveling and unweaving. Conscious awareness is not required.
Choice. You said it there. It's choice. We keep having the choice. And when we want to be free, we all want to be free from that suffering. And that suffering, that freedom comes in that choice, just in saying, I choose to be free from my suffering. The whole universe hears you.
Yeah.
And in that moment,
And it's not even the, it's not even the world changing. It's your approach and experience and perception of it shifting because it's already here. You're already free.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
already free. Everybody is. You are free to suffer. You are that
Yeah.
free that you get to suffer.
You are that free that you get the choice to suffer every single time that you choose to have that experience. And then anytime you want to come back into the one, into the unity, into the peace, into the unconditional love, arms wide open, just waiting, waiting to receive you. No
Yeah.
attachment to when you come, if you come, how long you stay.
It's
Just
always
here.
there, never leaves.
Never
Never
asks for
leaves.
anything, just here.
Heaven
Oh,
on earth. It's here.
heaven, it's already here.
God, I
Ah,
fucking love you. It's so good.
Oh, good. I can't wait to re-listen to that one.
I
You get
know,
the
right?
bars.
Bam. There you go. You're welcome. Ta-da.
That was my service for the day. Goes back to the 9 to 5, whatever.
I know, right? All right, back to my email. I am ready. I'm gonna do this shit.
All right, I love you, Mama.
I love you too, babe. Mwah.
All right, I'll see you in the unity field.
You got it. Always.
See you next week.